Hi, I'm Rhiannon and I'm a professional psychic hotline reader, and this is 5 mistakes I think most readers make when they're trying to go pro. Hello, welcome back to my channel. And I have been working as a professional tarot reader on several different psychic apps and platforms since February of 2019. I am a top earning advisor as well as a coach. I've coached many other tarot readers and astrologers to become very successful in this industry. So I wanted to do a video about what are some of the most common mistakes. Now, did I really go through and decide if are these the top 5? Maybe not, but these are the 5 that came to me today. So we're going to start with number 5, general readings. So if you are new to tarot or you watch tarot readings, you're on TikTok or really any of the social media platforms, you are going to see you're just going to be bombarded with general readings. That flies if somebody is not really looking for guidance and they just stumble upon somebody's offering tarot readings, and 99.9% of the time somebody just wants a free reading, so they're like, okay, just give me a general reading. There's nothing wrong with it, but when you are working as a professional in this industry, you've got people that are paying a premium to seek clarity from you, anywhere from 99 cents all the way up to $15.99 per minute. My going rate right now, depending on the platform, because each platform takes a different percentage of your earnings, which we can get into a different video. But on my, I would say the top platform that I'm working on currently, I charge $5.99 a minute. So if somebody comes to me at $5.99 a minute and says, hey, I just want a general reading, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm not just going to say no, because I don't want them to feel like it was a stupid question or there's something wrong with it. I'm just going to guide them, and I'm going to say something like, you know what, most of the time when people come and seek guidance from a professional like me, they have real issues that are going on. And if you want to make sure we have time to address those issues, it's better if we start from somewhere specific. The other thing I tell my clients is what spirit or your spirit team or your ancestors, or however you want to look at that, what they want to talk about isn't always what you want to talk about. So in order to make sure that my client leaves their reading feeling satisfied, which is my number one goal, accuracy to me isn't as important as their happiness, okay? Accuracy is going to play out over weeks or months, so we're not going to know about that, but their happiness is going to be something immediate. Okay. So I will just, guide them as to why that isn't a great choice. But if that's still something that they want, then I'll say, okay, but then I need you to at least pick an area. So whether that's work, career, love, whatever. Okay. Just to go in and start offering general readings in this type of a platform, I assure you, is a quick way to have an unhappy customer and a negative review. So I don't recommend that. Okay, now coming in with number 4. I'm just sitting here at my desk, and I can't help it. If I have a deck in front of me, I just want to shuffle. It's like a nervous tick. But number 4, smart, trying to incorporate too many decks. Anybody that's part of, the tarot world or the tarot communities on social media will know collecting tarot is a very big hobby and it's a big thing. And although I love it and I'm a huge collector, when it comes to reading professionally, know the deck you're going to be working with. So I personally work with standard RWS decks or decks that are very similar in theme. Now, I've got over 300 decks. You would think I'd be picking a new deck every day. That's a problem because I need consistency. Now, these are just my personal tips and tricks. It doesn't mean every single pro reader out there is going to agree. This is what's worked for me. I need to have consistency in images. And why that is again, back to the premium price they're paying. They're paying me $5.99 a minute. And if I'm used to seeing this rendition of 2 of Pentacles, and I grab, let's say this is a deck here called the Law of Attraction Tarot. Now, although I think it's amazing for career readings, because there's a lot of like career like imagery on here. I consider it kind of more of an oracle deck. It doesn't read to me. This is maybe because it's from like Eastern Europe, I'm pretty sure, but I'm going to try to find, let's find the Two of Pentacles. There's the Two of Cups. I found a card that I think makes a better point of what I'm talking about. So I'm now looking for the Six of Pentacles. Okay, so here we go. This is my point. This is what I'm used to seeing. This is the imagery that I'm used to seeing when I see the Six of Pentacles. I see this as a card of remorse, as it can be pity, but I do mostly love readings, so it's going to be in context of some type of relationship. So this to me would be a reconciliation card. Any six to me is something, energy that's getting ready to move forward. Five energy to me is when we're stuck. This is somebody who wants to balance things out again and wants to show you that they're remorseful. This is what that imagery brings up for me every single time, instantly, as soon as I see that. Now, let's say that I decided I wanted to be, you know, fun and throw in a new deck, and I pull this Six of Pentacles. Tell me how this image has anything to do with this, okay? Could I still receive some intuitive energy from this? Absolutely. How I would look at that is this person's probably super stressed out. They need a cigarette because they're going to have, you know, a total meltdown. Their life is too crazy. It's out of hand. They feel like they're, you know, there's not enough hours in the day. It's just somebody, again, this deck to me is really good for career readings, but although I could give the client a reading, it has literally nothing to do with this card. The Six of Pentacles has nothing to do with the Six of Pentacles. Now, I personally pride myself as a professional reader for the amount of return clients that I have. I have a very high percentage of return clients. And that's important because if you're going to be successful, and if your clients are happy, then they should be coming back to you, right? So let's say that they had done a reading with me and I had shown them the original Six of Pentacles, and the next time they come back for a reading, I just put everything away. The next time they come back for a reading, I show them this, they're going to be like, wait a minute. So I don't want to cause any confusion for myself. I don't want to cause any confusion for my clients. And I certainly don't want anything that's going to cause any type of delay in me being able to decipher and deliver the answers or, you know, the predictions, basically. Okay. So for me personally, I really recommend that you pick a deck and stick to it. So that might be Thoth. Great. Do Thoth or use very similar Thoth style decks, or RWS, use RWS. So like Light Seers, even though I don't have it on my desk right now, to me, that's close enough to this, close enough. I also currently like the Modern Witch because it's close enough. Like, look at that Six of Pentacles like we were just looking at. It's very, very similar. So the only difference is that we've got more inclusion here. We've got a female instead of a male. We have a woman of color. So it's okay. You know, for me, I can still use more diverse decks, but they need for me to be still very true to the original symbolism in RWS. And that makes me faster and more accurate, and just consistency. Consistency is key. Okay. All right. So now my number 3 thing that I see, it's not that again that it's wrong. It's just that I don't think I think there are better choices. So number 3 is, when you're preparing to be a tarot reader, like you may have some indications like, yes, one day I'd like to go pro. Some people start reading tarot purely for personal enlightenment and their spiritual journey, which is 100% valid and amazing. But there are people that will really come to me and they have just purchased a tarot deck. They have no idea about anything about tarot reading, and their goal right from day one is to become a professional tarot reader. That's also okay. There's nothing wrong with knowing what you want, what your goals are, and trying to attain them. And but most people, when they're, and I also run a tarot and an oracle group called Oracle Obsessed. So I get a ton of newbies and they're asking questions like, hey, I was just gifted my first deck, or I just purchased my first deck. What are some tips and tricks to get started? And a lot of people will be like, okay, read for yourself, do a daily reading, da 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 da. And although reading for yourself can get you on the journey, reading for yourself and reading for others, especially in a hotline setting, it's peas and carrots. They're both vegetables, but they're nothing alike. So I feel like it can be a detriment. Reading for yourself for too long, and I will say the same thing about people will think, I'm probably skipping ahead to another number, but there are people that think you have to have 10 years of experience or 20 years of experience or 5 years of experience before they can go pro. And that's just not true. Sometimes the more experience you have, the harder it is for you to transition. It's a completely different world out there. Reading professionally in a very, very quick, fast-paced, again, when I have people come in for readings, I don't know if they're going to spend 3 minutes with me or 35. If you are a reader working out of your home or working out of metaphysical shops, for the most part, that person's going to have pre-purchased a reading with you for a 30 minute, 45 minutes, hour, etc. So you have the advantage of knowing how long you have that client for. So you can do an elaborate, Celtic cross spread. You can go really, really nuanced in your meanings. You can just go into all the symbolism and everything, okay? But when you're working on these hotlines in a very, very fast-paced environment and you have no idea how long you're going to have this client for, you need to be able to get to the meat and potatoes instantly, okay? So sometimes if you have spent too long reading for yourself, you might go a little bit too deep, and that doesn't necessarily translate over to this industry. So my recommendation is not that you don't read for yourself, but that you look at it as a completely different craft. There is one system of tarot that is great for introspection, shadow work, and all of that, but it's literally almost nothing to do or not similar at all to what you'd be doing as a professional reader. The only way to get that experience is to read for other people, okay? So that takes us to number 2. I find that many people who want to get into this industry or are already in this industry are hyper focused on accuracy, aka being right. Well, that's just a concept that in most cases in the real world, it's rarely black or white. It's rarely right or wrong. Unless we're talking about math, there's always a gray area. And so when you're so hyper focused on being right, for one thing, you may miss part of one of the big opportunities for you as a professional reader is to become an advisor to this person, more of a counselor, more of a therapist. And there are a lot of people in this industry who have traditional credentials in counseling and therapy, and those industries or those careers as professional licensed therapists and counselors, although very needed, you are boxed as far as what you can do and what modalities you can bring, or you could lose your license. When you do something in the way that I do it, I get to pull from any modality that I choose, and I can still study psychology and these traditional modalities of therapy, but I'm not beholden to some type of license, right? Now, a lot of people, that ruffles some feathers, but I really don't care. So anyways, if you're so worried about being accurate all the time, a lot of times that can cause fear. And so when you actually do have a message come in, you're so worried and so anxious about being right that you don't deliver the message to the client. And what if that was the main piece to the puzzle that spirit wanted that person to have that day, and now you've missed that opportunity, meaning they've missed that opportunity to gain that clarity because you were too concerned about being right. This is why, rather than focusing on learning tarot before becoming a tarot reader, I think you'd be better off learning a meditation technique. Part of the purpose of meditating is to allow those thoughts to come in. We don't judge them. We acknowledge it and we let it go. That's what you do with that fear of being wrong. You acknowledge that you have the fear and let it go and deliver the message. So accuracy is great. I mean, I like to focus. Accuracy is important to me, but it's not the most important to me. Okay. That brings us to number 1. Hopefully I didn't skip anything. Number 1, which is something that I've already kind of talked about today, but thinking that you need too much experience. And from what I've seen, tarot readers that come in with, years and years, 10, 15, 20 years of experience are some of the hardest people for me to coach. It's much harder to unlearn habits than it is to learn habits. And again, they will think that there's a certain amount of cockiness and arrogance that comes with people that have been reading for a very long time that think that they already know everything. And again, if you haven't been working as a hotline psychic, you cannot compare it to any other style of reading. You just can't. So as with anything, if you think you know everything there is to learn, you're unable to learn new habits. You're unable to progress because you think you already know. So don't let being a newer tarot reader stop you from thinking that you should start a business. If you have any questions, go ahead and leave them in the comments below. Any ideas for upcoming videos you would like to see from the perspective of somebody who is a professional tarot reader.